When it comes to cancer or pediatric cancer, no discrimination. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic status whatsoever. We turn every kid into a superhero. We give them these superpowers. Okay. Everything you do is not for you, it's for them.
Okay, another episode of Scaling Secrets. I'm Dan Maddox, joined today by Tina Downing, the founder and executive director of Small But Mighty Heroes, a 501c3 here in the Tampa Bay area. Are you in Tampa, just Tampa, or is it really statewide or much larger?
So it is statewide, but we're primarily, our biggest focus is the Tampa Bay area, surrounding area. So our headquarters is in Valrico.
Okay, got it.
But we do support children statewide.
Okay, so I first will start by talking about what is Small But Mighty Heroes and who does it help and why did you get into this?
So Small But Mighty Heroes is a pediatric cancer nonprofit. So we are a little unique. We actually tailor that support. So again, with that, we support children battling cancer. So we focus not only on the children battling, but also their siblings and their parents. So by tailoring that support, we can help them through what matters most to them in that particular point of time in that battle. So we're there with them through the entire battle, but it's really like every stepping stone is different. Yeah. So when they're first diagnosed, they have no idea what they need. As they kind of progress through, they may need help with finances or just bringing smiles and happiness to the kids. And that's really what we focus on, is how we can make the biggest impact to them.
Okay. It's founded in 2019, 2017?
So 2017 was the original founding of the organization, but we became a 501c3 in 2019.
A nonprofit, right? Mm-hmm. So kind of talk about how do you go about, and we're going to get into the why, right? Sure. Like here in a little bit, but you know, what is it like to start an organization like this? From nothing, right?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
And then build it up to what it is and kind of describe that process and what you've accomplished over the last 7 years?
Oh,
7
yeah,
years
yeah,
about?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're absolutely right. Starting from absolutely nothing. And so for me, it was all passion driven. And so I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do to help these children, being in the field for as long as I had been as far as pediatric care is concerned. And then even segueing into, hey, I got introduced to a nonprofit. We're helping this child. I'm seeing and learning from example. Okay. And so with that, we had no funding. There was no funding. I was funding it directly out of my pocket. I was in corporate still at the time. It's trial and error. It really is. And I have to tell you, the nonprofit world is it's hard. It is so draining, and knowing the fact that everything you do is not for you, it's for them. And you have to worry about, am I disappointing them? How are we going to keep going? And when you're a nonprofit with a no name, people have no idea who you are. You're a small, insignificant organization. Yeah. You have to prove yourself, right? Prove why are they supporting you out of all these larger nonprofits out there, these multi-million dollar. There are many, and you get those multi-million dollar organizations that have their brand everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. So you're fighting against that, especially in the Tampa Bay area. We had it against us.
And how do you establish? There's the trust factor too. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, especially in the beginning, right?
Yes.
People giving you their money, mm-hmm. Their hard-earned money to hopefully help other people, which is what you're doing. But how do you establish that trust early on? It's probably easier now, right? Like
it's easier now. People definitely hear us. If you Google us, we're everywhere. But at first it was, truthfully, I don't even have the right answer for you. For me, it was being vulnerable and transparent. Hey, listen, this is truly what I'm about. Here's everything you need to know about me. Follow me, and just showing proof of what you do. I take high integrity in making sure that these children are not exploited by any means. So when we are applying for grants, I cannot tell you how many times these companies or founders or these foundations, I should say, would be, hey, send me a picture. No, absolutely not. And I had to do that because I'm not willing to exploit the children for money. And it's not, and it wasn't necessarily about exploiting them per se in that sense, but that's how I felt. Okay. Right. So I had to step away from what could have been really amazing money for the dignity of these children. Okay. Whether it was the right move as far as like, is that what they were really wanting to do? But that's just how I felt. And I wasn't willing to really sell out for just money.
Right.
And I think the community saw that, and the fact that I'm always there. I do a lot of networking. I'm part of many networking groups. I travel to be able to show my face
It's
and
got to
be
be
there.
huge, right? I mean, that's
It is. I mean, it's just that connection and being able to show and prove that you are a genuine person trying to do genuine work, and it takes a village. And that's our biggest motto, is it takes a village and no child fights alone. So every single person, whether you are a monthly donor, a one-time donor, a sponsor, you are all a part of this. So every logo goes onto our hero boxes, or they go onto our website or their social media. We do a lot of reels. So, these type of factors are saying, hey, I'm tied into this and I'm making a difference, even no matter how big or small that is.
got you. So kind of talk about a situation where you would step up and help a child, and exactly how that process from start to beginning would play out.
So we get a lot of applications, and a lot of what the applications are actually funneling in a drastic state right now. So much so that I can't keep up. So of
Okay.
course we're recruiting more people, and
Yeah.
but a lot of it was actually all Facebook, as far as the reach, right? People saw us on Facebook. I'm collaborating with families. We have well over 5,000 plus people that are on even my private page. We make it again very vulnerable, and for me, vulnerable and trustworthy, to where the parents can contact me directly, not going to my website and saying, "Oh, I talked to an assistant," but yada yada. We keep it very personable. So by being able to do that, they can contact me if they need. Hey, I want to just tell you my story. I'm an ear for them, and that's kind of how it started. So
So
starting,
you hear their story, and then what happens?
so then I will figure out what's the best impact. How can we help you? How can we help? And so they can say, we don't have the money for this, or we don't have that. We always offer a hero box program. That's our biggest one. So the hero box program is really designed to give the kids things that they want, things that they need, things to help them make memories, keep their mind off of the ouchies, pokies, surgeries, those type of things.
Yeah.
We turn every kid into a superhero. We give them these superpowers.
Okay.
And as if they have a sibling, we automatically ask. We need to know if there's siblings involved, because the siblings tend to get forgotten about, not maliciously. It just happens.
Right.
We want to make sure that they're just as important, and they know that. So we turn them into a sidekick. So they keep them involved, and we give sidekick boxes, hero boxes, and we just keep those positivity and hope and joy and memories alive.
So let's talk about you. How did you get into this? I mean, you went on your own and started this. There's got to be a personal story behind it, right?
Yeah, I mean, a little bit, I guess. For me, I studied pre-med, and my whole focus has always been peds. I worked 7 years in pediatrics. I loved what I did. Life threw me a curveball. I have 12 years between my two kids. And that was really that whole, hey, you're being rediverted. And so I got introduced into the nonprofit realm for a new company I'd started with doing medical IT. They had their own nonprofit. They help children of all ailments. I was dedicating 6% of my income to them. I got introduced to a little boy named Blakey, and he was battling leukemia at a year old at the time. So a year into supporting him, by the age of 2, he died. And it was one of those things that, watching it, I mean, mom being so raw and real and open, it imprinted this memory I would never forget, and it broke me. And I felt like I lost my own child that day. And we have to do more. We have to do more. The treatments are so grueling and brutal, and it was the treatment that ended up, unfortunately, coming to his demise. But that was something I said, okay, we have to do something for these small but mighty heroes. I used to call every single one of them small but mighty heroes, thus the name, and it stuck. And here we are now, just really looking at, hey, how do we do this? How do we keep doing this? The influx of children is so real. There are so many children diagnosed every single day battling, and not just battling, but passing away. So that's why it's so important that we not only support them throughout their journey, whether they're on treatment, off treatment, they've survived, or if they've passed.
But like, describe that moment where it's like, you have this really raw experience, right? That's heartbreaking and gut wrenching, to how do you, what is it in a person, or for you, that takes that and goes out and starts what's grown into a pretty large organization, from what I've been able to tell, right? I mean, how to describe that?
It's funny. People say that I'm an alien, because they're like, I could never do what you do, and how are you dedicating this time and energy and your passion? I mean, it's the passion that really everyone's telling me about. And they said, we hear you. No one can tell your story but you. No one can represent this organization but you, because you have that passion. And so for me, it's just I'm different. I have that innate ability to love, and I'm such an empath that I can feel it. I can put myself in other people's shoes. And I think every chance I get, every single moment when I look at a new case, it's like I'm putting myself there. If this were my child, what would I do? What would I expect? How can I do this? And so we have to be creative all the time. We do things that a lot of nonprofits don't do because I'm thinking outside the box often. And how are we helping? What it can be, hey, let's just pick you up from, from home and take you to the airport if we need to. We do that. If we've gone and helped babysit children because mom was sick and she's got one kiddo that's got to go to clinic and the other two are home. I mean, we really try to make an impact the best that we can, despite if the funding is there or not. We will find it. We bring in the community to do that. But for me, it's all about love and that compassion and empathy that most people don't always have.
Sure, sure. You were talking about networking earlier. Obviously, that's a key component, and you just mentioned the community stepping up. I mean, you couldn't do this alone, right?
No.
Like, how does that go? I mean, how do you go out and I mean, obviously, everybody wants to help in these types of situations, right? It's not that hard.
Yeah, I mean, and so we offer so many opportunities for people to help. Help, it comes in all shapes and forms, right? For me, networking, we network with numerous different organizations. So we are part of the Chamber of Commerce. We are part of the Partners in Network, and we are also just recently part of the Power Gals. So we're definitely connecting with different businesses all the time. I mean, whether they're part of the chamber or not. We have so many great connections with so many different businesses, and it's that that support, showing, hey, you support me, we support you, and we continue to do that. That's why it's so important that every time we always give shout outs to our businesses that are behind us, because we cannot do what we do without the support of others. It's not possible. And so as far as the networking, it's so imperative that we do that. Every Wednesday we have Chamber of Commerce. We have Thursdays once a month at Chamber. I mean, so we really like what's out there, what kind of events are there. You have other nonprofits in the community, support those nonprofits. Support them. It can be, for us, like Raining Cats and Dogs is one of them. We give them donations. We get lots of things that come in often. We take communities' unwanted items and we will either provide them to the families that need them, and if they don't have a use for them, we sell it and then put the money into the funding. So that's kind of one of the things we do almost on a daily basis on fundraising, and that's a simple thing that the community can do. Hey, I got this, needs to be donated. Hey, let's give it to Small But Mighty Heroes. We'll take it. So when we get items that we don't use, like towels or blankets, we give it to Raining Cats and Dogs. They need them. And these are just simple things that we can all collaborate together, whether they're a like-minded nonprofit or not. It's so important to also stand behind the other nonprofits in the community.
Tell me a little bit about the type of families that you're helping. Are these, more affluent families? Are these more, that may not have the same resources that everybody does? Or is it a mix of both?
It's a mix of both.
Okay.
When it comes to cancer or pediatric cancer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
There's no
Discrimination
There's
on
no
that,
discrimination.
right? Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, it does not matter your socioeconomic status whatsoever. Unfortunately, a lot of things when it comes to care, medical treatments, things like that. Yes, I mean, insurance plays a part of that. Does socioeconomic status have a part in this insurance status? Sure.
Right.
But it doesn't matter because treatment's not always covered, right? So it kind of puts you in that realm that everyone is in one whole pool together. It does not matter your socioeconomic status whatsoever.
Gotcha. Kind of talk a little bit about, where things are going in the future.
Oh goodness. Really our future, we're expanding at this point. So definitely we are looking for, more board members and more community members to step up and be a part of an actual active team. We always have those amazing volunteers that pop in and pop out for, an event, or they're here, but we have an operation that goes on day in and day out, to where we need those constant members, right? So we are actually expanding to where we will be, hopefully in the near future, having the payroll to where we can do this every single day, and have that constant face and the
Sure.
person that stand behind the organization, obviously myself, but other members as well. Really, we would love to have a brick and mortar to where we have someone that comes in. that people know where we are. You want to come in and do
Right.
an interview, we can have that. As far as like the families are concerned, people want to drop items off, they can drop that off at our brick and mortar. So really that's our future. And of course that growth, the financial status growth to where we actually can open up one of our biggest programs that I made a promise to a little girl that we supported for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
The one thing that we're seeing right now is an influx of parents needing help with mortgage or rent or car payments or car repairs. Those are tremendous amounts of funding that we don't always have. Very rarely do we have at one setting.
Yeah.
So we are right now pushing for the community as far as the grant writings and things like that. We are looking to launch that as a full, transparent program for everyone, because right now we have about 24 applicants that came in as of from the past 3 weeks. There are
Yeah.
24 new
Wow.
applicants.
Okay.
I looked at my email 2 days ago and we have 8 new applicants and I haven't even touched yet. So it's the looking at what the demand is and they need help with rent. They need help with,
Yeah.
getting back and forth to clinic. Those are so important. And we have a lot of nonprofits that say, hey, we don't do that. We don't pay for those things. But we want to make sure that a parent shouldn't have to worry about, do I pay for my child's treatment or do I put a roof over our heads?
Right.
That should not be a question, right? So we need to make sure that we are supporting these families the best way we can and helping alleviate some of those additional stresses that parents already have hell already. Why add additional to that?
Do you do anything with like lobbying with legislature or anything like that?
I do not
You
know.
do not. Okay. Just wondered. How can people contribute
So we have
and help?
Yeah,
And
so
step up.
donations are always amazing. Monetary donations are huge. And so those are always needed. We have actually 6 programs that offers that tailored support to them. So if they go to our website, smallbutmightyheroes.org, there is many ways that they can donate. Obviously, more people. We need our army. We need our village. So if people want to join the team, put in an application. You can do it all through the website. I will interview personally and really we look at those people that have the passion and that empathy
Yeah.
that want to be able to be here and support.
How many kids would you say you help in a year?
In a year, oh gosh, that varies.
Sure.
We started off with 3 children in 2017. We now are well over 400 children that we support.
Wow.
And that number just keeps, before we were kind of having an average of like 8 kids a month that we were being introduced to. And just in the span of the 3 weeks, I mean, we've exceeded that.
How do you not get caught up in like the day-to-day operation of like, okay, we got to do the operation of it, right?
We do.
And is it hard to forget like, oh, okay, this is why we're doing this? You have to remind yourself sometimes.
Truthfully, this is a great question because this is something I was just faced with myself. Life happens, right? Life outside of SPMH is always constantly happening. And I had to take a step back saying, I have 2 children of my own and I've got a life of my own. And I've put that on the back burner for so long that I forgot what life was like,
Yeah.
right? Because I am supporting all these other children. My kids are alongside me helping support these children. And, life changed for myself in a personal level to where like, okay, I got to take a step back.
Yeah.
And how are we letting things drop to pick them back up, right? So we got to remind ourselves we get stuck in the operational day-to-days every single day. And because I don't have enough people on my team currently, I don't have time to do what I founded the organization for. So I have to stay up until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning to be able to kind of, okay, let's get this done. And it is a struggle. It really is.
Yeah,
And
I think jaded's not the right. I don't think
It's
that's
not jaded,
not the
yeah.
word, right? Like it's more just
it's
you're just
overwhelming.
right.
It's overwhelming. It really is. And, for someone like me with my background that has always been in medical, right? Science and medical, that's all I know. So you're throwing now business and other aspects in there that I have no idea about. So this is where that community comes in. I can pick up a phone and network and I know XYZ. Let me call. Hey, do you have some ideas? Can I do a one-to-one with you? And I'm constantly remaining a student. That's like my biggest thing with my organization. Always stay a student, always be willing to learn something new. And really we need those people that have that skill set that I do not to really make such a powerful board and even a community of our team members. And we'll get there. Right now, we're just not there yet.
I would say like a lot of founders of nonprofits and even entrepreneurs, for profit are in those situations where they have a great idea, great motivation, but maybe not have the business acumen,
Mm-hmm.
the bookkeeping, like
Mm-hmm.
things of that skills that you really didn't have going into it. Is what's the learning curve like on that?
Oh my gosh, it is one big learning curve.
Yeah.
So we again, networking, right? So to me, it's oh goodness, we have to do we have, okay, for instance, we have the software, like the Intuit the
Right.
bookkeeping,
Sure.
right? So
Right.
we have that. It's funneling all of the bank information through, so we know what's being expended. We do once a month meetings to where we can say, okay, this is what we expended, this is what we need to cut back on, or we didn't meet our goal, that type of thing. Um, we hired several CPA firms. I have to say we've had three that have really royally failed us.
Okay.
And because they don't have a nonprofit background, right? And that's the biggest
Right.
thing. Like you have to make sure that you have a nonprofit understanding if you're going to be my CPA. And some, even when interviewing, oh yeah, we do. And things just didn't go the way that they needed to go. So it was always kind of like, okay, we got to always second guess what's going on. We finally found someone who did, and that's been a lifesaver. So really knowing and connecting with the people that can take those big responsibilities off of your plate that you don't really have the know-how to do, you have to trust those people that are part of your team. So that learning curve has been hard for me because I've been so independent for so long, and I am a little bit of a control freak. And so being able to say, I'm going to take a step back and let these people do what they do so I can do what I do, that has been very trying and still learning day to day. But the learning curve is always there. Like
Yeah.
we're going to make mistakes, right? And really, if we're failing, it's not a fail, right? It's first attempt at learning,
Right.
right? So it's kind of like always picking that up and moving forward.
We're talking about your first run in with
Mm-hmm.
this and what motivated you to start this and do it. Your why, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a story, obviously with respecting everybody's privacy, is there a story of a child that you interacted with during your time doing this at the nonprofit that you'd like to share that just kind of really touched you and keeps you going?
Yeah. I mean, there's several, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's one amazing story that I love to share. This little boy who, he actually had a brain tumor, and mom came to me one day and said, "Hey, I really need help getting this car seat." And it's no problem. He's 15 years old. And I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we get the car seat.
And this is like a special medical
Yes,
grade.
yes, it
Okay.
was,
Right.
because he's older and because of the brain tumor, he can't.
Probably not cheap.
It's not cheap.
Okay.
It was not cheap. So he said, okay, yes, I got it. Like, I found this one. I want to get your approval. We're going to take care of it. We'll ship it out to you. And she goes, actually, the church took care of it already. But one thing I really want, and mind you, they live in Texas. And because they get treatments, anybody that gets treatments through here, they're still considered our patient, right?
Okay.
So she said, we really want to celebrate, and this was in October. We got to celebrate early because he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it to Christmas, and Christmas is his favorite holiday. And his little brother looks up to him so much, and they're like inseparable, absolutely inseparable. And she said, we got to make this special. So I want to do this in October, and we're going to do Christmas in October. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, how can I help you? She said, I need it to snow here in Texas. And I go, come hell or high water, we're going to make it snow.
Wow.
So I call everyone I can think of. I'm calling these different companies, and I happen to find this company that does like parties and they do the snow. And he said, Tina, listen, I can't, I'm booked, but I'm going to make this happen for you. And I'm going to take the snow machine. I'm going to show mom and dad how to do it, and we're going to make it snow for them. He did exactly that. Mom sent me a picture, and it's on my social media, or it's on my social media and website. But if you go to my website in the blog section,
Yeah.
you'll see the story in the pictures. And the boys were so excited. I mean, it was snowing, and it was just the most beautiful, memorable thing. And he did pass away shortly after. But knowing that memory is there, and still to this day, we're still connected. I still connect with mom.
Yeah.
Mom actually created her own nonprofit in his honor. So here we are. We're still, these memories are so important.
Is it ever overwhelming with, having so many stories like that, I mean, does it take a toll on you
It
personally and the
does.
staff? I mean,
It
I
does.
can't imagine.
I have staff.
It's,
Yeah, I have staff that says I don't want to even know about any of these cases. I'm here to help. I can, do fundraising. I could do. I just please don't share these cases with me because I'm not strong enough to handle it.
yeah.
And you get those. I
You're
more
going to be pretty
people.
strong to do this, right?
Yeah, you really do. And I tell everyone, listen, what we do is ugly and hard and trying, but everything else doesn't have to be, right? So, for me, I don't know. Again, when people tell me I'm an alien, it's totally. I have to stop and think like, oh wow, man, I can really. I can take a lot, but I do break down. I break down in moments that people won't see me for a week because it is such a toll that I cry, that I am depressed, that I am just I feel like what am I doing? Like am I actually making a difference? Is all of this any is this really an impact? And so when you see some of these reviews or some of these talks with the parents and listening to what they have to share with you, you really realize that, wow, I made a bigger impact than I realized. So what I actually do is I actually do Latin ballroom dance, and that helps
Okay.
me. That helps
Interesting.
me release,
Have that
and
outlet. Yeah.
that's my outlet, and I do that, and that is so important to me. So I dance through Fred Astaire Dance Studio, and they are such great supporters of me as well. They said, "Come on in. We already know you're having a trouble. Come on, let's go." And we just dance it out. And if I don't have that, if I don't have a release, I can go down to a spiral.
Yeah. Okay. We already talked about how people can help and step up. Where can people, last question, to find you and reach out?
So they can find us on all social media platforms, Small But Mighty Heroes. Um, Make sure you spell it right. It's small but mighty, Heroes. Many people do that, forget about the E. So we're there. You're going to see us on TikTok, Insta, Facebook, YouTube. We also have our website, so smallbutmightyheroes.org. They can make donations. They can send in requests for to be a part of the team, whatever they want to do. They'll see our events that we have coming up. September. I mean September 7th. We're actually having a motorcycle rally that we'll be hosting in Valrico.
Okay.
So there are so many ways that people can be a part of this. July 25th, we're going to be at Bullfrogs doing a music bingo. I mean, we're always doing
Yeah.
something. So community, come out, come and help us, support us.
Tina Downing, Small But Mighty Heroes, thank you for your time. Really
Thank you.
doing an incredible work
Well, thank
for
you
the
very much.
community. Okay. Thank you.